Thanks for joining us on the Overcomers Overcoming podcast series. In this series, we profile those who have overcome or are in the process of overcoming a life topic. We have three purposes with this broadcast series. One, whatever life topic you may be going through, we want you to know that you're not the only one going through this circumstance that you're experiencing. There are others who have or at least are willing to work with you in this. The second thing is we want you to know there are multiple solutions to any life topic you may be experiencing. Third, if you are experiencing a life topic because of a decision that you would not otherwise have made if you had the opportunity to have a redo, we want to help you with critical thinking such that you can make informed decisions. I'm Ron Cooper, founder of the Cooper Culture, along with my wife and business partner, Marty. The Cooper Culture is sponsoring this podcast series. Today, we feature Boyd Hamlin, who has experienced three very major medical procedures, surgeries in his life. Marty, what are some takes that you had from a discussion with Boyd?
Ron, I want to say that we have had some very interesting and podcasts with people that have overcome many challenges, and they have been an inspiration to me. Today we have, as you said, Boyd, and his overcoming of a lot of situations in his life. His determination to not let this get him down. He was not going to let this make him a victim. He was going to be the victor in all of this. And I really appreciated how he said what he did during depression that helped him through that period.
There was a period of Boyd's life, depression, that he just wasn't certain if he wanted to continue. But no, Marty, as you said, he made the determination that he's a victor, not a victim. Let's listen together and learn how Boyd made it through two cavernous malformation brain surgeries, along with having recovered from transverse myelitis surgery. And while he's not totally cured, he is helping others through various difficulties in life based on his determination to overcome things of the past. Boyd, I know you have a story of, you've been through some fairly significant health challenges, and Boyd, wonder if you would just take us through as much of those health challenges as you feel comfortable doing, and how have you overcome some of the challenges that you have had and maybe are still going through?
Absolutely. I'm Ron and Marty. I'm glad to be here. Back in 1995, it was the year that I first encountered something with my brain that was not planned. It was not something that was going to be one of those kind of routine things that you do when you go to the doctor. You know you get a cold or you get the flu symptoms or whatever. You go get something to take care of that. Well, this wasn't one of those cases for me. In 1995, that was the year that Mel and I, we had just been married. We were in the process of having our first child, and I was speaking at a youth conference on the side because I was working from my first full-time Christian youth ministry at a place in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and speaking at this little conference, and all of a sudden, in the middle of that speech, I blacked out, and I hit the stage, and when I came to, I thought, what in the world just happened here? And my first thought was, youth ministry is too much for me. Maybe that's the sign that I need to get out of it. And that was not the case. It was several MRIs and CAT scans later, they discovered I needed to get to Phoenix, Arizona, to the Barrow Neurological Institute, where Dr. Robert Spetzler, the world-renowned Robert Spetzler, was the the CEO, president, and head physician. And he was able to remove what they call a cavernous malformation from the left temporal lobe of my head. And, of course, that was my first brain surgery experience. And what happened with that after I got home, Ron, is that I had a very short kind of recovery time from that because of the location that it was. It didn't require a whole lot more time than about 2-3 months. And, you can add a month or two in there, just for good measure. But I went back home and I got right back into youth ministry. And I think the thing for us that my wife and I that made that very possible was that, let's go ahead and let's do the thing that we need to do. It's important. It's an important health decision. Let's get that taken care of so we can get back to the purpose that we've been put here for. And we did. We got back into the youth program and spoke at a lot of youth conferences from there, and to the point that I got recognized from another youth program in Texas. And they had asked if I'd come and help with their youth program and maybe specialize in their middle school endeavors. And I did that. My wife and I and the two boys at that time, we went out to Amarillo, Texas, and we started our youth program there, along with what great things were going on in that church that we served. And it was 1999. One morning, I woke up. We had just put together the final details of taking 300 students on a missions trip up to a camp in New Mexico that we would go to each summer. We had some projects that we wanted to finish for them, and I didn't want to miss out. I was pretty excited about going and being a part of that trip. So what ended up happening was I had a pain in my lower back, and thought maybe, well, it was the flu. I had the sniffles and all that kind of stuff, so I just grabbed a Z-Pack from the doctor and loaded my bag up with NyQuils and DayQuils, and on the trip I went. And I guess I should have stayed home on that particular trip, because what transpired from there was I got through the trip okay, but at the tail end, I couldn't feel my legs. I couldn't walk. And they had told me that, you probably won't walk for the rest of your life. And I soon was diagnosed with what they call transverse myelitis. And I have transverse myelitis still to this day. It's something that 1 in a million people get, and I was one of the lucky ones. And I have to live with this condition the rest of my life. But I've learned how to do it. And it wasn't without the help of a physical therapist named Patty. She was the one who got me through and helped me get my feet back underneath me. And at first you think that the physical therapist is mean, and Patty kind of was. She was kind of mean, and at the same time, she had to be to get me where I needed to be. And I got back on my feet, and we moved from Amarillo, Texas, to Rio Rancho, New Mexico, to take on a challenge of planting a church. And in the process of that, at the very end, 12 years later, in 2018, I experienced my second brain surgery. This one happened to be on the left side, on the left side of my brainstem, in the back, right located between my ear and the middle of the back of your head. And they told me that it was large enough that it had to come out because it was causing a lot of issues. It shut down the whole right side of my body. It would slur my speech. It sounded like that I didn't really know how to talk very well. It messed with my thinking process and all kinds of things. And so we were back in Phoenix again to encounter my second brain surgery by a guy who was a successor to my first brain surgeon, and he did an exceptional job. But one of the things I can say now, Ron, without any hesitation, because I know what the price of those type of surgeries are, is that I'm worth $1 million. It's just all in my head. And that is That's a massive a massive amount of money goes into surgeries like that. But when you have to have them, you just got to do it. And this time around, one of the things they told me is that you're going to have to understand that this recovery time isn't a typical recovery time of a couple of weeks, couple of months. You're looking at 18 months. And they said in the process of that, you may encounter a small depression that you're going to have to go through. And I thought, well, no way, I'm not going to encounter that. I've never encountered depression. I don't even know what it looks like. But the day that it hit me, guys, it hit me like a bullet, and it was for reals. So there's nothing fun about depression. It's something that I struggle with even to this day. I've just had to decide that it's not going to get the best of me. I don't take medication, anything of that nature. I just get up, and I have discovered that if I'm going to battle through this, I'm going to have to do it thinking along the lines of I am a victor and I'm not a victim of this. I've got to rise above it, and how am I going to do that? And I figured out a way. I figured out a way to rise above those challenges, because there's a point, Ron, that you really do think it's over for me. And I had those moments. I'm only 51 years old, but I had those moments. It's over. And how am I going to recover from this? And if we let it, life can really just take us down to the curb or down to the abyss. But we have it in us also to just, if we're willing to dig deep, we can go further in life if we're willing to dig deep.
Yeah, Boyd, let me interject here. As I'm listening to your explaining the three surgeries, 95, 99, and 2018, you almost minimalized, it seems, the 95 brain surgery and then the back problem. And I'm not going to make any attempt to pronounce the actual medical condition of each one of those, but was your 95 brain surgery something? There's nothing routine, I don't guess, about a brain surgery, but you seem to be describing the 2018 brain surgery as far more severe, or at least having a much greater impact than the 95 brain surgery. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yes, sir. The first one in 1995, of course, where it was located on the front, it was the front of my ear, right between my ear and my left eye, in my brain, and because of where it sits in the skull, it puts pressure on cavernous malformation. What it does is it's like the best way to describe it is like wet noodles or whatever else you'd like to tie knots in them, and the knots represent the hemorrhaging and bleeding when they rupture and they grow. And this had ruptured and grown, and it got the size of a strawberry, but it looks really like a blackberry, if you will. But it was the size of a strawberry, and they had to get that out of there because it was causing some issues with my sight, with my speech, and things of that nature. The one in 2018 is a little bit different because it was located the same type of thing, of malformation, in the left side of my brainstem, but it was back there in the part of your brain that controls a lot of stuff. Your sight, your smell, your hearing, your speech. It controls your what side of the, if the problem's on the left side, the right side of the body is going to be affected. So that's how come that right side of my body shut down. I couldn't use my leg, couldn't use my arm. I couldn't grip anything with my right hand. If you wanted me to squeeze something with all my might with my right hand, I could squeeze a baby's hand as hard as I could, and they couldn't feel a thing. Just because that there was no strength at all going to the right side. So when they went in, what I had to do was on the back side of that surgery, which after about 7 hours, I was told it was a 7-hour surgery. you're thinking, okay, am I going to make it out here or not? And of course, the first thing I said to my wife when I woke up in recovery was, we got to pay for this. we got to pay for all this. And I went right into it. They don't waste a lot of time, in surgeries nowadays. They don't waste time. If you have a knee surgery or a back surgery or whatever else, I mean, it's within a little bit of time after recovery. They're wanting you out of bed, walking down the hallway. And it's like, wait a second, people, just give me a second here. But they had a book in front of me that I had to write in and start working on my cognitive skills. They had a hearing test that I had to take. They had me walk down the hall and up a set of stairs and down another set of stairs, and they had me going from one thing to the next the same day that surgery had been completed, and they wanted me to speak into not necessarily a recorder, but to speak and then be able to hear myself back, whatever technology that they were using, so that I could hear the way I was sounding. And they wanted to make sure that I could speak better and that I could make sense of things and put sentences together and complete thoughts and the whole 9 yards. And so it was a journey that they had to get me started on, because that stuff I had to repeat for the next 18 months to make sure that I was fully recovered.
Yeah, Boyd, I'm processing a lot of what you're saying. Is, man, you had a lot of things on your mind. Not necessarily in any order of stuff, but hey, you may have been thinking something like, am I going to fully recover from this brain surgery? And assuming I do, and I'll certainly do what I can, man, I've got a lot of bills to pay for, and you may have thought that, hey, is life worth living anymore? And did you have thoughts like that at the time? And if I'm not characterizing them correctly, it sounds as if you had some thoughts that you just had to overcome, and maybe are still in the process of overcoming.
Oh, absolutely. And I hope it's okay to share with you on the podcast here is that what I did think about checking out. Those are the kind of things we want to hear from you. That, okay, you thought about checking out, but now I think, knowing you as I do, you're saying, nope, I'm not going to. I'm going to overcome all this. Yeah. I decided. You know what? Matter of fact, to be honest, to you and your listeners, that is, I had figured out a way. I'd figured out a way to get checked out of here and to make it not messy and the whole 9 yards. I figured out a way to how to do it. And I just decided on that very same day, it's like, you know what, don't be a chicken. You have kept telling people your entire life to not be a chicken and to rise up and take the challenge on, head on, and be the better person for it. Don't be taken down to size because of it. And so what I ended up doing was I started making phone calls. And my first attempt was making phone calls to people to see if they would encourage me. Okay, I will say this to you and Marty as honestly as I can. That was the dumbest idea that I had ever had. Is that let me just call some people and see if they can encourage me. That's not how it works. Okay. We call people to encourage them. And so what I did is I just switched that around, and I came across a passage in James chapter 1 verse 25, and in essence, here's what that kind of says. It kind of says that a person, a man or a woman of action, will find delight and affirmation in that action. And so it dawned on me in that moment, you know what, if I'm going to get better, I might as well just start my process by helping others feel better so that in turn I can get better. And you know what, that's the way that it works, is if I'm encouraging and lifting up somebody else, then in turn I can get better. And so what I ended up doing was I started making phone calls to people to see if they would encourage me. Okay, I will say this to you and Marty as honestly as I can. That was the dumbest idea that I had ever had. Is that I'm encouraging and lifting up myself at the same time. And as a result of all of that, you get back up. It's pulling yourself up, Ron, by the, what did they used to say? You pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I mean, it's not one time. It's every day. You're pulling yourself up by those bootstraps.
Boy, that's just huge what you're saying, and that's going to be very difficult for some of us to fully grasp. That here you are in the throes of, man, I don't even know that I want to continue life like this, but then you made the decision that, nope, I will make it through this, and the way to make it through this is to give encouragement to other people. The first thing you're going to do is give, whereas there was at least a momentary thought, no, I need to get the encouragement, but I think what you're telling us, Boyd, is to get the encouragement, you need to have the fortitude, the kind of the deep inside look at yourself that, man, you need to first off give encouragement, and by giving, you'll get. Am I hearing you correctly?
That is exactly how it was supposed to be taken. That's exactly right. And if I was going to get, I had to give first. And I think that's the way that it's supposed to be, because the guy that you and I both look up to, and I know that we read the scriptures on a daily basis, we are reminded by our leader that if you're going to be the greatest, you got to be the servant of all first. And yes. I think that that's one of the big things for me, is that in that moment it was just very good to be reminded of that, because hey, you want to get better, you want to be better, well then serve somebody else. It always comes back to that for me. You always have to serve somebody else if you want to feel good about yourself. And if you want to get back up for for the next stretch, you've got to help somebody else get up for their next stretch. And that's just the way that it's always been for me. And this encounter that I had with this last brain surgery in 2018 was no different.
Well, Boyd, yes, being a servant leader is, first off, being a servant, being willing to meet the needs of other people. And I know that to be a characteristic of who Boyd Hamlin is. And that's a very laudable characteristic of you, Boyd. Curious, are you still battling depression? Are you still in the process of overcoming, or said another way, are you still a recovery in process from your 2018 surgery?
The 18 months has come and gone, but the depression piece goes on. It just keeps going. It's just a part of it. And it doesn't happen on a regular basis for me. It happens, to be honest with you, when I start letting my guard down, and when I start saying, you know what, I'm going to make today about me, all of a sudden that stuff starts coming back. And and my day just gets a little worse and a little worse, and by the end of the day, you know what? I just really don't want to be here. But if I get up in the morning and I say to myself, you know what? Who am I going to help today? Who am I going to come alongside of today? And I work from that angle throughout my day into my evening each day. It kind of stays away for a while. But the minute that I make it about me again, it comes back. And I think that I think that's kind of a good thing. And in a way, it is. As long as I'm about other people, I'm going to be okay. But if I make it about me, then I want to be depressed.
Sure. Boyd, I don't want to try to pretend to be a medical diagnosis type person, but I'm reading into at least a little bit of what you're saying is that you can avoid a depression, an oncoming depression, dependent on how you feel and think. Is that realistically a part of how you work with yourself?
It is. It is, and it is how I work, how I've done it for myself. You know what? One of the things I think we have to decide is, you know what, do I want help or not? and who's going to help me, and you've got to be the first person to say, I am willing to help me before anybody else can help you. And just keep in mind, too, that there's a lot of different levels of depression, and I don't even know which level of this depression state that I've encountered is, but I know that there's other levels, and so with the different levels that there are, there's going to be different approaches. And so, whatever help that we need, it might be something a little bit more than what I'm talking about. I just would encourage people to go get the help that you do need so you can get down the road a little further than you are now.
Let me advance that just a little bit, Boyd. I know you're married, Melanie. My guess is she had a large part in just sustaining you to help you through the various challenges, maybe just call it the mental state and so forth. Just a guess. Can you describe what Melanie was to you and, how all of that worked together?
Oh, absolutely. I like talking about Mel. She doesn't like me talking about her, but I do. I think it's just so funny. This was somebody always asked, when someone asks me about Mel, I always tell them this, that she is my Jesus with skin on. She is
Amen.
The one who shows me what grace and forgiveness looks like. She shows me what mercy looks like. She shows me what true service looks like, and true understanding, unconditional love, all that kind of thing. And you know what? If I was left to me, Ron, I would have left me a long time ago. And She has stayed with me for 28 years, and she has seen me through all of these complications, all of these tricky situations that we found ourselves in. And if it wasn't for me, I think we'd have a pretty good, we could say we had a pretty good run. But because of me, we've had to encounter all this medical stuff, and we're not still out of the woods. But what she has done is helped me get from point A to point B when it comes to doctor's appointments, when it's he's got to take a break for right now, and that means I'm going to have to step up and get a job, or I'm going to have to, spend more hours at my job. She has always been willing to do that. It truly is a relationship, not always that we want, but it's a relationship that we need. And I couldn't do this life without her.
Yes, and I'm going to echo a lot of what you're saying. Marty is right here by my side. She is I frequently refer to her as the voice of my personal Holy Spirit. But a partnership with a person with whom you can not only call your best friend, but you literally have a committed, connected relationship. These kind of folks, this kind of relationship can take you through so many down and dark times that Marty and I have a similar testimony, and we just want to extol you and Mel, that you've been through a lot, and your marriage, your relationship, your attitude, Boyd, and has taken you through a lot. I want to tell you that Marty and I both appreciate your sense of humor, that in spite of brain surgery, man, you're still going good with a sense of humor, and we love that.
Well, I appreciate that, and speaking of that sense of humor thing, one of the things that you have to have when you're going through hard times, for anybody who's listening, you have to have a sense of humor. If you don't, then you're the one that's going to miss out first, because you're not guaranteed that the other people around you have any sense of humor about them at all. So you have to maintain one yourself. And when I was in that, one of the tests that they did run on me was an EEG, and they have to put little things on your head that look like little white lifesavers, and they put them all over your head, and then they put a wire on each of them. And I was speaking to the nurse, and of course my situation is a serious one. And I looked up at the nurse, and she said, "Excuse me, sir, do you have a question?" And I said, "Yes, I do. With all these wires that you guys have attached to my head, do you think I can pick up any radio stations?"
Oh gosh, that's your sense of humor, boy.
Yeah, you just have to maintain that, and it's very interesting too. I know that the nurses are there for me, but I'm also there for them when I'm in that room. When I was in recovery at the hospital, every time that somebody came in the room, and I couldn't be that person that, you're here to serve me, but I also had to have the mentality of how can I serve them. And in the process of that, I wanted to complete. I like also putting closure to things, checking things off my list. And one of those things for me, guys, is that in practicing my writing ability, when I got back home from my surgery, I wrote a thank you note to each one of the nurses and the doctors who was on the staff and the team that worked on me, which was over about 21 individuals. And I had memorized their names and something about each of them. And on the following year, it was January the 16th, I'll never forget it, January 16 of 2020, I went back to Phoenix to my follow-up appointment. And I got there early enough that I went to the floor that I spent most of my time recovering on, and I handed out a thank you note to each one of those nurses. I hand-delivered those thank you notes. And it means a lot to those who serve you and take care of you to just know that you have recognized them and what they've done, and that even after you left the hospital, you're still thinking of how you can serve them so that they can in turn keep doing what they do in serving others. And it's just amazing. So I got that checked off my list, and I came home and thought, okay, now what do? I got to move on to the next thing. And one of the things I did is I started writing a book called Actitude. I was told through this whole thing, Ron, and maybe you can speak into this too, but I've always been told, oh, just think positive, think positive. You know who tells people that? People who don't know what else to say. Oh, just think positive.
You're right.
Think positive. Think positive. There's nothing to think positive about today. So what do I do? And so I decided that I have to marry the word action and attitude, and I came up with a new term, actitude. I have to, through my actions and my attitude, I can get to the positive life that I want. I can get to the positive life that I desire, and it's not about an attitude, it's about my attitude. And what am I going to do every day to kick in my attitude to make the difference that needs to be made, not only in my journey, in my own life, but in others' lives too. I think that's what it's about.
You're right on target, Boyd, and I know you to be a person of action. Marty and I both know you to be a person of action, and we certainly applaud and appreciate that. The book, Actitude, is that available to our listeners?
It is not available yet. As a matter of fact, it just went through its first editing process a little while ago, and the young lady that did the edit of the Actitude book for me. She was a student in my youth group 30 years ago. So we went through the first edit, and there's a couple of pages that I still have to work on and add some information to. But after that, it will start then going through the publishing process. So it might take a little while for it to get out, but it is coming out.
All right. Well, that's something our listeners can look forward to. And but Boyd, we again know you to be a person of action. We know you to be a person who wants to serve others. You have been through a lot, and you're still going through a lot. But your message, I think, to many people is you can make it. Your attitude is a lot to that will have a positive impact. But with a positive attitude, put things into action. Move out. And Boyd, I know Marty and I know you to be that kind of a person, and we want to thank you from our heart for taking action to serve others and to be an inspiration to others that you've gone through 3 very major surgeries, and you're still recovering, albeit there was a point where you were wondering if you wanted to check out on life, but nope, through the Lord's working, said, nope, we got a lot more work for you to do, Boyd, and you hang in there, you figure out how to do it, and by serving others, you too will be served. What a great story you have, Boyd.
Well, I appreciate that, and thanks for letting me be a guest on your podcast. I know you guys do great things out there for your listeners and making a big difference, so I appreciate you letting me come on.
Boyd, thank you for your story and your inspiration to others. We look forward to following your progress, and we look forward to the release of the book whenever that works out.
Yeah, when it does, I will be sure to let you know.
Great. Could you sense the grit in Boyd's voice, his determination to overcome, not allow these 3 surgeries, the depression, and the other things that have all come together to produce what the effects had on him, that irrespective of all of that, he was going to overcome. There's no doubt about it. He did mention somewhat humorously, but I suspect it's very close to being true, that the $1 million of expenses that he has incurred through the 3 surgeries, and yes, that is a challenge that he's going to have to overcome, but he is determined he will. The other thing that you may have gleaned from this is whatever encouragement, whatever you think you need in life, be willing to give it first. That is a huge insight. That if you need encouragement, if you need friendship, if you need whatever it is, Boyd's admonishment, and Marty and I have lived this as well, be willing to give it first. And I think if you are willing to give with no expectation of anything in return, it's very likely that what it is you're hoping for in return will actually happen. Boyd is a type person who wants encouragement, needed encouragement, but he was resolved that, first of all, I need to give others encouragement. And in spite of what Boyd had gone through and is continuing to go through, Boyd knows that he needed to give encouragement to others, and he's doing that through his youth ministry. He's doing that through life. And Boyd is a type person who's willing to give anything that he has in life, and he knows without any expectation of anything in return, he is going to get satisfaction through that. He's also learned that you need to put into action those things that you learned in life. He has a book in progress, Actitude, Actitude. It is a book that explains how you need to put into action and have an attitude that says you will overcome. It's a book in progress. I'll keep you informed as the book is reaching its final stage and available for distribution. But learn from Boyd just what it is to put into action and have the right attitude of overcoming. Let's engage together and let's have a dialogue by through the comments, or contact us directly at 410-586-1875 or Ron at thecooperculture.com or Marty, M-A-R-T-Y, at thecooperculture.com. Let's dialogue. Let's engage together. Let's learn together from your experiences how we can help advance others. The other thing that Boyd emphasized very clearly is relationships. Marty and I have a digital course on relationships where we describe just how we can have a very fulfilling relationship with others. And when we have a very fulfilling relationship with others, it is a fulfilling life. And Marty and I want to make that available to you. Call us. Let us know how we can reach you, and let's work together in developing very meaningful, connected, genuine relationships. That when we do this, we can help others overcome virtually anything in life, because we know loneliness is one of the major factors that tend to bring people down. So let's get together, let's work with each other, and let's do what we can to advance others. Let's engage, and through our engagement, through thinking into this, we're going to come up with multiple solutions of how we can advance each other. We look forward to working with you.